Hi there. This time, I'm going to make a little recommendation. I'm going to recommend that we, as a people, reconsider warfare. Now, why should we reconsider warfare? Now, I'm going to break this down into 3 reasons. First, human considerations. Second, because reconsidering warfare is in our national interest. And third, because warfare is obsolete. Let me take the human considerations first, which argue in favor of reconsidering warfare. Warfare has always been destructive, and it is becoming more so. It is a waste of resources, and more importantly, a waste of human lives. Now, the resources could be put to more constructive uses, and the human lives are irreplaceable. Not only are they irreplaceable, they are our future. Because most of the lives lost in warfare are young people who have not yet made their contributions to society. The songwriter Phil Oakes said it very well. It's always the old who lead us to the war, always the young who fall. Now, I'm not only talking about the people who die, who are killed in war. Many of the returnees are broken in body and in mind. They will never be able to make the contribution they might have had warfare not intervened in their lives. So, there are human considerations which argue in favor of reconsidering warfare, but there's another good reason, is that this reconsideration is in our national interest. And I'm talking here to my fellow Americans, because the Pentagon is in the pockets of corporations that build weapons and that provide other services, countless other services, to our armed forces. Dwight David Eisenhower, who was both a very successful general and a very successful president, warned us about this. As he left office, he said, "In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence by the military-industrial complex." I think he invented that term, and it just means the Pentagon and all those corporations that feed off it. He went on to say, "We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or our democratic processes." Well, he was right. And he was prescient, because today all aspects of our military policy and budget are influenced profoundly by private corporations. And decisions are often made which benefit the corporations, although they may not necessarily be in the interests of our nation. And high-ranking officers are far too often much more friendly with the executives of those corporations than they should be. We waste our wealth spending much too much on weaponry that is often of dubious value. The real danger of invasion or severe damage done to the United States by some other nation is minuscule compared to other dangers which we face as a nation and a people. and upon which we spend nothing but a pittance. The amount of this waste is astonishing. In 2018, our military budget was $643 billion. Billion. The next highest nation in spending on military was China, which, even though they have got a lot of catching up to do with respect to us, only spent $168 billion. And nobody else in the world even came close. Russia, which through espionage has greatly increased its stature in the world respect to us, only spent $63 billion on its military, less than 1/10 of the money that we threw at the Pentagon. Another president, Jimmy Carter, called us the most warlike nation in the history of the world. And in support of this, he pointed out that since 1980, China has been at war for 0 years. During that same time, the United States has been almost constantly at war. We initiate unnecessary wars, which damage our reputation with the rest of humanity while also damaging our own people and cost all this money. And we damage our economy, our position in the world, and even our health with our weapons construction. The Iraq War, a completely unnecessary enterprise, cost $5.9 trillion. And all we accomplished was to, inflame the Middle East, kill a lot of human beings, and make ourselves a lot of enemies, and disrupt the oil industry and do huge ecological damage. Warfare, the way we have been spending money on it, is clearly contrary to our national interest. And finally, war is obsolete. At this point in history, warfare has become fatal to human existence. Because today, the ultimate weapon, if it was used, it would destroy everything. Therefore, there's no way to win. If total war breaks out between nuclear-armed nations, all humanity, and perhaps all Earth life, will lose. War is bad for humanity. It is bad for the United States. And it is obsolete. So, what do we do about it? How do we reconsider warfare? Well, I propose a 3-part program. First, report reality. Second, rethink our strategic position. And third, redesign our military. Large portions of our defense budget are secret, and much of what we spend isn't even included in that budget. This is not only undemocratic, but it is an invitation to the corruption which indeed has ensued. I think that we have to report reality. We need to make our actual total military budget transparent and available to the American people. It needs to be published so that citizens can understand what we're spending and what we're getting for our money. Once we have reported reality, we can then rethink our strategic position. We can have a public discussion of war plans, placing everything on the table. Questions. What do we want to stand for as a nation? What are the realistic threats that we face in the world? And how can we meet the real need of our defense more efficiently? Now, once we've started asking those kinds of questions as a people, we can begin to redesign our military. And I think we ought to pull together a panel of experts to do that. Special committee. I recommend that the committee members be appointed by the president, but they got to be confirmed by both houses of Congress. And that the committee be composed of members of Congress, retired military, 50% officers and 50% enlisted people, and career diplomats. It should also be stipulated that no participant may have any financial relationship with any defense contractor. We do need to defend our people and their rights, because that's the job of government. And as long as we're living in a world composed of competing nation states, we do need some defense. But we do not need an overwhelming military that is designed to maintain an oppressive empire. We do not need to waste our precious resources on a military-industrial complex which does nothing to expand our human rights and provide a better future for our children. We do not need to send our young citizens into harm's way simply to protect the profits of corporations and the privileges of aristocracies. The Defense Department and the sector of our economy which it supports has been practically given unlimited funding with no transparency and no accountability. With all the power has come massive corruption and abuse. We, the people, cannot efficiently change the power structure without reconsidering warfare. It is so integral to the power structure within our nation. And when we reconsider warfare, we need to reconsider the power centers devoted to it. It is time in our national history, at this moment, to reconsider warfare, because it is bad for humanity, it is bad for the United States of America, and it is obsolete.